You keep waiting for a better day to begin. You keep telling yourself that once you have more time, more money, more support, then you will give your best. Until then, you hold back. You do just enough to get by. You move half-heartedly through your hours, and you comfort yourself with the thought that one day you will really show what you can do. Listen carefully. There is no one day. There is only this day, and what you do with what you already have. Life does not promote the man who plans to do his best tomorrow. It promotes the man who does his best where he stands with what is already in his hand. You talk about destiny as if it were a stranger coming to knock at your door unexpectedly. That is an illusion. Destiny is being written right now in the way you sweep the smallest corner of your responsibilities. It is hidden in how you handle the tasks you secretly think are beneath you. The world cannot see your future plans. It cannot read the dreams locked in your mind. It can only see how you behave today. And the law is mercilessly simple. The man who is careless with little will not be trusted with much. The man who throws away this hour will be the same man tomorrow, holding a different clock but living the same story. You may protest, but my circumstances are unfair. I do not have the tools others have. I do not have the opportunities. Perhaps that is true. Many men begin with less than they deserve. But that is not the point. The point is what you are doing with the tools you already possess. A dull blade in the hands of a master can outcut a sharp blade in the hands of a lazy man. Your mind, your body, your present duties, your current connections, these are not insults. They are raw material. When you despise them, you insult the very law that could lift you. When you treat them as sacred trust, you begin to work with that law. Look at your day honestly. Not in the flattering way you describe it to others, but as it truly is. How many moments are spent in full attention, in full effort? How many are consumed in drifting, in complaining, in doing the minimum to avoid trouble? You say you are exhausted, but it is not effort that has worn you out. It is indecision, resentment, and half work. A man grows tired when he pulls in two directions at once. One hand reaching for his best, the other clinging to his excuses. When he stops pulling both ways and commits everything he has to one clear path, his energy returns. The truth you have been avoiding is this. Your best is not waiting in some distant future. It is waiting inside your next decision. Not a magnificent decision about some grand project, but the ordinary decision about how you will handle the task directly in front of you. The way you clean your tools, the way you finish a conversation, the way you complete an assignment you dislike. These reveal whether you are training for greatness or rehearsing mediocrity. Success is not an event that falls on you. It is the natural harvest of thousands of small efforts done as well as you can do them. You have been taught to worship results. You celebrate the man who appears suddenly successful, and you ignore the long, disciplined years that shaped him. Then you wonder why your own life does not leap forward. You are trying to harvest without sowing. You are judging today by what you can see, not by what you are planting. Let me tell you something you must never forget. The seed of greatness is not the dream. It is the habit of doing your best with whatever the day places in your hand. If you refuse that habit now, no amount of dreaming will save you later. You say, but my work is small and unimportant. How can doing my best here matter? It matters because you are not only doing a task, you are forming a man. Every time you force yourself to give more attention, more care, more excellence than the situation demands, you carve strength into your character. Every time you allow yourself to be sloppy, indifferent, or resentful, you carve weakness instead. The task may vanish tomorrow, but the man you are becoming will remain. That man will either be ready when a greater opportunity appears, or he will be exposed as unprepared. Look at men who are truly trusted. Not the ones who boast of what they intend to do, but the ones others quietly rely on. You will find one common thread. They developed a reputation for doing their best long before they were given important positions. They were the ones who could be counted on to finish what they started, to handle even dull duties with care, to show up when they said they would. No one can buy that reputation with words. It is paid for with daily effort. You have the same chance they had, because the law that shaped them is the same law that now watches you. Doing your best is not a vague feeling. It is practical. It means you decide in advance to bring your whole attention to whatever you touch. It means you refuse to rush through work just to get it out of your sight. It means you stop complaining about what you lack and start asking, what can I do right now with what I have that would move me forward even one step? That question alone, asked honestly, will separate you from 9 out of 10 men who spend their days blaming everything except their own effort. You must stop waiting for perfect conditions. The man who waits for silence before he studies, for enthusiasm before he works, for applause before he gives his best, will never move. Conditions are rarely perfect, but the law is not concerned with comfort. It is concerned with faithfulness. Faithfulness is measured where you are, not where you wish you were. If you are in a small room, keep it in order. If you are in a tedious role, perform it with precision. If your tools are old, care for them better than others care for new ones. This may feel insignificant, but it is the proving ground of your future. Understand something further. Your best today is not measured against another man's best. It is measured against your own potential in this moment. You may look at a man far ahead of you and feel discouraged, saying, I can never do what he does. That may be true, for now. But you are not being asked to do what he does. You are being asked to do what you can do, completely. The man at the summit once stood where you stand now. If he had despised his starting point, if he had refused to give his best until he was already high, he would still be at the bottom. You weaken yourself every time you say, there is no point in trying hard here. No one sees it anyway. Someone always sees. You do. And the law that governs your growth sees. When you cut corners while telling yourself that it doesn't matter, you are teaching your own mind that you cannot be trusted. You are writing a silent message on your soul. When things are hidden, I give less. That message will follow you into every new environment. Thinking that a change of place will erase it is a deception. A man who holds back in secret cannot suddenly become excellent under light. You say you want more pay, more authority, more recognition. Let us put that desire into a sentence that exposes its weakness. I want to be paid now for what I promised to do later. No law in the universe supports that bargain for long. The employer, the client, the partner, life itself, each is watching to see what you do now with what you have. That is the only safe basis for promotion. When you reverse the order and demand future wages for present neglect, you collide with reality. That collision feels like injustice to you, but it is simply the refusal of life to reward a man who has not yet proven himself reliable. You might say, but I am tired of doing my best for so little. Then we must ask, honestly, if you have truly been doing your best, or if you have been doing only slightly more than the least you can get away with. There is a difference. A man who truly does his best learns something valuable even in unfair situations. He learns new skills. He strengthens his discipline. He expands his capacity to endure. These, in time, can be carried into better places. But a man who holds back does not grow. He stays the same size and then complains that the world is too small for him. Do not mistake doing your best with killing yourself in frantic overwork. It is not about burning out. It is about burning clean. There is a difference between scattered exhaustion and focused exertion. When you give your full, organized effort to a clear task, you end the day tired but satisfied. When you jump through the hours, half engaged, half resentful, you end the day tired and ashamed, with nothing solid to show for it. Your body feels the difference. Your mind feels the difference. So does your future. You need to bring your wandering attention back under command. Start with 1 hour. Choose a portion of your day, an hour of work, an hour of study, an hour of building something, and decide that for this 1 hour, you will do your best with what is in front of you. Not a heroic best for an audience, but a quiet best for your own integrity. During that hour, you will not indulge in mental drift toward wishes, grievances, or fantasies. You will stay with the task, noticing the details, correcting small errors, asking how it might be improved. Then you finish that hour and look at what you have produced. If you repeat such hours, they will begin to accumulate like bricks. 1 hour of true effort may not impress you. 10 such hours begin to form a wall. 100 form a foundation. 1,000 build a structure that others can see. You have wasted too many hours waiting for some great chance to prove yourself. The chance is already here. It is the next assignment you considered trivial. The world will never know how many of its ordinary men could have been extraordinary if they had only treated small opportunities as seriously as they dreamed of treating large ones. You may fear that if you give your best now, you will have nothing left for later. That fear is a lie. Effort does not drain the well, it deepens it. When you do your best with what you have, you discover resources in yourself you did not know existed. You find that your mind becomes sharper as you stretch it, that your hands become more skillful as you use them, that your courage grows as you act in spite of reluctance. The man who always saves himself for a future demand that never comes dies with most of his strength untested. The man who spends himself wisely each day finds that his capacity expands. Your excuses have been trained by long repetition. They speak with the authority of old friends. This is beneath you. Wait until you feel motivated. There is no reward here. No one else is trying hard. Why should you? These voices must be challenged. Ask them, who have you ever made great? They have no answer. They can only make you comfortable in weakness. When such a voice whispers when you face a small task today, answer it directly. I will not let you waste another day of my life. I will do what is before me as if it were the entrance exam to the future I claim to want. Understand this. Life is always examining you. Not with a frown and a ledger, but with a simple question. What kind of man is this? The answer is not given by your opinions, your wishes, or your complaints. It is given by how you treat this day. Are you the kind of man who leaves things better than he found them, or worse? Are you the kind of man who hides his ability unless he is flattered and rewarded, or the kind who uses his ability because it is dishonorable not to? Are you the kind of man who demands to stand on a higher stage before speaking with power, or the kind who speaks with power even in a small room? You do not need a new life to become that second kind of man. You need a new way of walking through the life you already have. That means looking at the simplest duties, your current work, the state of your surroundings, the way you keep your word, the care you give to your tools, the seriousness with which you learn, and deciding that from this day forward, You will stop doing them as a man who is half asleep. You will do them as a man who understands that the invisible law of growth is watching every move he makes. When you shift in this way, something remarkable starts to happen. The very tasks you once despised become training grounds. The places you once cursed become classrooms. The people you once saw as obstacles become instruments in your development. You cease to ask, "Why am I stuck here?" and begin to ask, "What can I extract from here by doing my best?" That question alone separates the rising man from the man who will spend his years in circles. There is no magic phrase that will transport you into success. There is only this stern, liberating truth. Success belongs to the man who honors this day by pouring into it the best of his mind, his hands, and his spirit, regardless of how small it seems. If you will not do that with what you have now, you will not do it with more. If you will do that with what you have now, more will, in time, be drawn to you. That is the law. It does not bend for resentment, it does not hurry for impatience, and it does not stop for complaint. It simply moves faithfully toward the man who proves by his daily conduct that he is already living as if he had the future he desires. You say you understand that today matters, yet you still catch yourself staring over the fence at someone else's field. You measure your effort against another man's advantage and then give yourself permission to hold back. You look at his position, his resources, his connections, and you whisper, "Of course he can give his best. If I had what he has, I would do the same." That thought is poison. It kills your strength quietly. The law does not compare you to him. It does not ask what you would do with his life. It asks what you are doing with yours. The only honest comparison is between what you are giving and what you could give today. You must stop using other men as an excuse to stay small. The world is full of people who began ahead of you and fell behind, and of people who began behind you and moved ahead. The difference is not in the starting point, it is in what they did daily with what they possessed. If you use another man's head start as justification for laziness, you are not only dishonoring yourself, you are also misunderstanding how progress works. Life does not reward the man who broods over unfairness. It rewards the man who squeezes every drop of value out of his present station. Listen carefully. You do not yet know what your best is. You have never met it. You have met your comfort. You have met your convenience. You have met your habits. But your best lies beyond all of these. It reveals itself only when you stop protecting yourself from effort. You cannot discover it by speculation. You discover it by leaning farther than you think you can, by concentrating longer than you are used to, by persisting one more hour when your old self would already be resting. Only then do you begin to sense the truth. You have been living far below your capacity, not because fate demanded it, but because you decided that average effort was enough. When you decide to give your best today, something in you will rebel. Your old self will say, "Why waste energy here? This job is temporary. This town is small. These people do not appreciate you." That is the voice of a man who wants the privileges of greatness without the price. Answer him plainly. If I cannot be trusted with temporary work, I cannot be trusted with permanent influence. If I cannot be excellent among the small, I am unfit to stand among the great. Then prove those words by action. Treat your current task as if it were the final proof the universe needed before opening the next door. Because it is. You must understand that the law is always watching for faith, not complaint. Faith is not mere belief. It is loyal action in less than ideal conditions. When you do your best with limited tools, limited encouragement, limited recognition, you are demonstrating faith in the principle that effort is never wasted. That kind of faith lays claim to future opportunities. A man who only works well when praised is not faithful, he is dependent. A man who only exerts himself when he sees immediate gain is not faithful, he is bargaining. Faith says, I will give all I can in this moment because that is the right way to live, whether or not the reward is visible today. You may ask, what if my effort is taken advantage of? What if I give more than I am paid for? Here's the hard answer. If you give your best only when perfectly compensated, you will never rise beyond your current scale. The law of increased demands that you put in more than you receive before you receive more than you put in. This is not unfair. It is the only way life can test whether you are safe to promote. Your extra effort may not be rewarded by the person who directly benefits from it. They may be blind, stingy, or ungrateful. But effort has a way of writing its record in your own mind and character. That record will follow you into every new environment, and sooner or later you will enter an environment where that record is recognized. Think of your present situation as a proving ground, not a prison. Each day you are given tasks, some important, some boring, some distasteful. Each one carries a hidden question. Will you do this well simply because it is yours to do? If you answer yes often enough, you build a habit of excellence that no employer, no downturn, no betrayal can take from you. If you answer no, if you rush, cut corners, or pretend to work while your mind wanders, you build a habit of pretense. That habit will follow you even if you are given a higher position. Titles do not erase habits, they reveal them. Stop saying, when I get there, I will start living differently. You will not. You will live there the way you live here. Opportunity does not make a man, it amplifies him. If you are slack in small matters, you will be slack in large matters. If you are careless in private, you will be careless in public when the novelty wears off. If you do not respect your own word when no one is watching, you will break it more easily when many are watching and pressure increases. The only way to guarantee that you will behave rightly in a future you cannot see is to behave rightly in a present you can. You must also deal with the poison of resentment. Resentment says, why should I bother? Others have it easier. Others are rewarded more. That thought drains your energy faster than any physical exertion. It turns your attention away from what you can control and locks it on what you cannot. When you indulge resentment, the tasks in front of you become heavier. You move more slowly, make more errors, and at the end of the day, you have both poor results and a troubled spirit. Then you point to the poor results as proof that life is against you. In reality, you have been against yourself. Replace resentment with resolve. When you feel that old bitterness rising, say, yes, others may have more. Yes, conditions may favor them. But no man can stop me from giving my best today. I will not hand them that power. I will not allow their advantage to become my excuse. Then turn back to your work and give a little more concentration than you feel like giving. Each time you do this, resentment loses a little of its grip. You start to experience something you may not have known in years, the quiet pride of honest labor well done. You must cultivate a new respect for small improvements. Your old thinking demands dramatic change. It says, if I cannot transform my life in a week, why bother? That is the voice of a dreamer who has never built anything. The successful man understands that life is moved by increments. He knows that if he tightens his effort by 10% today, by being slightly more precise, slightly more punctual, slightly more thorough, that 10% compounds over weeks and months into something enormous. You have been throwing away these small gains because they do not feel impressive. Your vanity is starving your progress. Start looking for ways to do today's work a little better than you did it yesterday. Not twice as well. That will only paralyze you, but a little. Ask, where was I careless yesterday? Where did I accept good enough when I knew I could do more? Then select one place and improve it. Over time, you will notice that your standard rises quietly. Tasks that once seemed difficult at full effort will become easier. Why? Because your capacity has expanded. That expansion did not come from wishing. It came from doing your best with what you had and then slightly more. Understand that doing your best includes how you think while you work. A man can move his hands while his mind drifts through grievances and fantasies. That is not his best. True effort means your mind is present. You are observing, learning, connecting. You are asking, how could this be done more efficiently? What is causing this problem? What pattern is hidden here? When you work with this kind of attention, your tasks become teachers. Each day, they show you something about process, about people, about yourself. That knowledge, gathered in small pieces, becomes one of your greatest assets. You must also examine the way you speak about your duties. Words reveal allegiance. When you constantly call your work useless, stupid, or beneath you, you are weakening your own spirit. You are saying, I am better than my conduct. That is a lie. A man is no better than the way he behaves. If you truly were above your present work, you would be proving it by the excellence with which you do it, not by your complaints. A successful man may aim higher, but he does not insult the ground he is currently standing on. He knows that to curse the field is to curse the harvest. From this day, discipline your tongue. Stop poisoning your own mind with constant criticism of your circumstances. Instead of saying, this is pointless, say, this is training. Instead of saying, I am stuck, say, I am strengthening what I will carry into the future. The work itself may not deserve such respect, but your character does. You are not honoring the task for its sake. You are honoring the man you are becoming by the way you meet it. Do not confuse contentment with complacency. Doing your best with what you have today does not mean you are satisfied to remain where you are forever. It means you are wise enough to use today instead of despising it. You can hold a higher vision in your heart while still being faithful in low places. In fact, that is the only path from low to high that does not break you. A man who refuses to give his best until he reaches a lofty position, if he ever reaches it, finds that he lacks the inner strength to hold it. He never trained. He only dreamed. Think of your life as a journey up a long hill. Every step costs effort. You may be tempted to conserve your energy by shuffling your feet when the incline is gentle, telling yourself you will push harder when the slope becomes steep. But when you reach the steep part, you find you lack the strength because you never conditioned yourself. The wise man knows that every step is training for the next. He does not drag his feet on the easy stretches. He uses them to build stamina. So it is with your days. It is foolish to be lazy in easy seasons and expect to be heroic in hard ones. There is a deeper reason why you must give your best today. You do not own tomorrow. You speak as if the future were guaranteed. When things calm down, when I meet the right person, when I have more saved, these are promises you make to yourself about a time that may never belong to you. The only day you are certain of is the one in your hand. If you squander it, you are not merely wasting hours. You are gambling with the only currency you truly possess. The man who repeatedly postpones his best into an imaginary tomorrow eventually finds that tomorrow has run out. This is not a call to panic. It is a call to seriousness. When you recognize that each day is a non-returning opportunity to practice excellence, you stop playing with it. You stop letting moods dictate your effort. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start asking, "Is this worthy of the man I mean to become?" That question strips away the fog. You may still feel tired, bored, or afraid, but you can no longer hide behind those feelings as if they were commands. They become weather, not governors. You must also realize that doing your best today is the surest way to improve what you will have tomorrow. There is no separate method for attracting better tools, better opportunities, better surroundings. They come to the man who has already proven he will use them wisely. When a man handles modest resources foolishly, giving him more is not kindness, it is cruelty. When he handles modest resources well, giving him more is justice. Life is not random in this. It is exact. It may move slowly, but it moves true. Perhaps you are afraid that if you give your all and still do not see progress, you will be crushed. So you protect yourself by holding back. You say, "If I fail while using only half my strength, I can always tell myself that I could have done better." That is cowardice, disguised as caution. A real man would rather fail honestly than succeed through pretense. He would rather know the truth of his present limits than live in the fantasy that he has hidden power he never uses. When you give your best and fall short, you gain knowledge. You see where you truly stand. You learn what must be improved. You stand on solid ground, and often you do not fall short. Often, once you finally commit your full attention and energy, you discover that what once seemed impossible was always within reach, only waiting for a wholehearted attempt. You realize that many of your so-called limits were nothing but the walls built by years of lazy thinking and half-effort. They crumble the moment you lean on them with all your weight. So, today, with whatever you have, be it much or little, admired or ignored, paid well or poorly, make a quiet, serious decision. I will no longer insult myself by living below my capacity. I will treat this day as if it were the test of my faith, the rehearsal for my future, the place where I prove to myself and to the laws that govern success that I am ready to be trusted with more. Then show that decision in the smallest actions. How you rise, how you prepare, how you work, how you finish. You will not feel a trumpet sound. No hand will appear to pat you on the back, but something will begin to shift inside you. You will look at the man in the mirror at night and, for the first time in a long time, respect him. That respect is the birthplace of courage. Courage is the birthplace of greater action. And greater action, sustained, is the birthplace of the very success you have been talking about for years. You do not reach that birth by waiting. You reach it by doing your best with what you have today. There is a deeper layer to doing your best with what you have today that you have not yet faced. It is this. Your effort is not only shaping your future circumstances, it is shaping how you think about yourself. Every task you touch whispers to your mind, "This is who you are." When you rush, avoid, and cut corners, your mind concludes, "I am the kind of man who does just enough to escape trouble." You may speak big words about your vision, but your nervous system does not believe you. It believes your behavior. When you decide, instead, "I will do this well because my name is on it," you are writing a very different message. I am the kind of man who can be relied on, even in the smallest things. That inner belief is the foundation upon which all outer success stands. You want confidence. You try to manufacture it by repeating phrases, by picturing yourself in some future glory. Yet you still walk into each day doubting yourself. Why? Because confidence is not built on imagination alone. It is built on the memory of past obedience to your own standards. When you know that yesterday and the day before and the day before that, you did your best with what you had, you walk straighter. You no longer approach new tasks asking, "Can I?" You approach them saying, "Whatever I possess, I will use fully, and that has always been enough to move me forward." That is real confidence, and it can only be purchased one day at a time. You must understand the power of raising your standard, not for others, but for yourself. Up to now, your standard has been, what can I do without getting in trouble? What will keep people from complaining? That is a slave's standard. A champion's standard is, what is the most excellent way I can handle this given my current tools and knowledge? This does not mean perfection. It means refusing to be satisfied with careless work when you know you could concentrate more, think more, care more. When you accept low standards in the ordinary, you become incapable of high standards in the extraordinary. Examine your day in detail. How do you begin it? Do you fling yourself into it half awake, letting the first interruption decide what you do? Or do you take a few moments to ask, what are the most important things I can do today with what I have? A man who begins his day with intention is already ahead of the one who drifts. Doing your best with what you have starts before the first task appears. It begins with organizing your mind around a clear set of priorities. What must be done, what should be done, and what can wait. Then, as the day moves, you measure your effort against this list, not against your moods. Your attention is a tool more valuable than any instrument you can hold in your hand. Yet you treat it as if it had no cost. You let it wander through worries, fantasies, and distractions while your hands go through the motions of work. Doing your best with what you have today means guarding your attention like a miser guards his gold. When you are at your duty, you are at your duty, not half present while your mind walks elsewhere. When you sit to study, you study, not read 3 lines and then roam through unrelated thoughts for 10 minutes. Full attention, even for a short period, produces results that scattered attention cannot equal in many hours. You must acknowledge that much of your so-called hard work has been spent in scattered motion, not in focused effort. You bustle, you complain of being busy, but if someone observed you closely, they would see long stretches of half-effort, waiting, avoiding, and self-interruption. You are not being condemned, you are being confronted. Because until you see the waste, you will not feel the urgency to change. From now on, begin to measure not how long you were physically present, but how long you were truly engaged. Aim each day to increase the minutes in which your mind and your task are in the same place. Doing your best with what you have also means treating obstacles as invitations rather than excuses. When you meet resistance, a broken tool, a delayed answer, a shortage of materials, your old self says, "See, this is why I cannot do my best." The man destined for more says, "This is where my best is required." He asks, "Can I repair this? Can I adapt? Can I learn something that makes me less dependent on such fragile conditions?" In this way, he uses difficulty to sharpen his ingenuity. You have been using difficulty to justify remaining as you are. That must end if you wish to grow. You may say, "But there are things I cannot change." That is true. There are limits today that you must respect. Doing your best is not the same as pretending you have limitless power. It is not stubbornly banging against a closed door. It is meeting reality honestly, then asking, within these boundaries, what is the finest work I can do? What part of this situation is under my influence? For example, you may not control how much you are paid right now, but you can control how well you perform. You may not control the attitudes of those around you, but you can control whether you let their laziness infect you. Your best is measured within your circle of control, not outside it. Part of giving your best with what you have today is accepting responsibility for your own growth. You cannot keep blaming your lack of skill on your past. If you lack knowledge, you can seek it. If you lack a skill, you can practice it. You may not have formal teachers or ideal conditions, but the world is full of ways to learn. Books, observation, questions, experiment. Doing your best means being a student of your own life. When a mistake exposes your ignorance, you do not hide from it in shame. You seize it as a lesson. You say, good. Now I see where I must improve. Then you take steps, however small, to improve. You must also confront your habit of dividing your life into important and unimportant hours. You imagine that the hours spent on your dreams are the only ones that count, and the hours spent on chores, obligations, or duties are dead time. This division is false. The way you carry yourself in the so-called unimportant hours is exactly how you will carry yourself in the important ones. If you are sloppy at home, you will be sloppy in the office when pressure rises. If you are dishonest in small private matters, you will be tempted to dishonesty when stakes are high. Character does not switch on and off like a lamp. It flows through everything. So, when you wash a dish, sweep a floor, repair a loose hinge, or straighten a desk, do not say, "This is beneath my real self." Say, "This is where my real self is proved." You are building a habit of thoroughness, of respect for order, of attention to detail. Those very qualities will show themselves later when you are trusted with larger responsibilities. Many have sought great achievements while neglecting the basic order of their immediate world. Their success, if it comes, is unstable. A life built on disorder cannot hold its own weight. Doing your best with what you have also applies to how you handle your relationships. You cannot control every person who crosses your path, but you can decide what kind of person you will be toward them. Will you listen well? Will you keep your word? Will you speak truthfully and respectfully? Or will you be unreliable, careless with promises, and quick to indulge irritation? The quality of your interactions today is part of the what you have. If you squander them through neglect, you are wasting a powerful ingredient of success. Many opportunities come through trust, and trust is built when you consistently bring your best self to even minor dealings. Beware of the habit of saving your good manners for those you think can benefit you. That is not character. That is calculation. The true measure of a man is how he treats those who appear to offer him nothing. When you bring your best, your patience, honesty, and respect to everyone you meet, you are training yourself to be the same man in every room. That integrity simplifies your life. You no longer need to remember how you behaved in each context. You no longer fear that one part of your conduct will contradict another. You are one piece. Another area where you must do your best with what you have is in governing your inner talk. It may seem invisible, but it is as real as any tool, any coin, any connection. Each day, you speak to yourself countless times. You comment on your own progress, on your worth, on your prospects. Up to now, you have let this inner talk run mostly unchecked, repeating words you absorbed from other people or from your worst moods. Doing your best today includes refusing to indulge in inner speech that weakens you. When you catch yourself thinking, "This is useless," answer, "No, this is training." When you hear, "You will never change," answer, "I am changing now by what I choose in this moment." When the thought appears, "It is too late," answer, "This day is not." This is not childish chanting, it is mental discipline. You are directing your own mind instead of letting it insult you. A man who continually belittles himself in secret cannot, at the same time, be giving his best. He will always hold a portion of his energy back, believing deep down that it will not matter. Correcting your inner language is part of using what you have. You have the power to decide which thoughts you will repeat and which you will refuse. That power is one of your greatest possessions. You may ask, if I do all this, if I give my best today in effort, attention, attitude, and speech, how long will it take before I see results? That question reveals that you are still bargaining. You are still trying to treat effort as a currency to buy a specific outcome on a specific schedule. Life does not operate on your timetable. It may reward you quickly in some areas and slowly in others. The man who gives his best only on the condition of swift, visible reward has not yet understood the principle. You must separate your duty from your timeline. Your duty is to give your best with what you have today. Life's timing is not your domain. When you sincerely discharge your duty without constantly grabbing for the fruit, you free yourself from a great tension. You work faithfully and let time do its work. You stop yanking at the roots of your seeds to see if they are growing. You keep watering, weeding, and trusting the process. That calm persistence is more powerful than any rush of enthusiasm. You must, however, be honest enough to review your direction. Doing your best does not mean stubbornly pushing in a foolish direction. It means bringing full effort to a wise path. So, periodically, you must step back and ask, is what I am doing aligned with the man I intend to become? Are my efforts today still serving my chief aim, or have I drifted into mere busyness? If the answer is that you have drifted, you must adjust. There is no virtue in doing your best at the wrong thing. That is like expertly rowing a boat that is tied to the dock. Your effort must be married to vision. Do not use this as an excuse to avoid effort while you wait for clarity. Many men hide from work in the name of seeking purpose. They think and think, but never commit. The right balance is to choose the best direction you can see with the information you have, then throw yourself into doing your best there while remaining open to correction. Clarity grows through motion. The man who waits to act until all doubts are removed will still be waiting when his life is over. Pay attention to the way giving your best today affects your sense of time. When you truly engage with your work, the hours may feel long, but they will not feel empty. You will lie down at night with the weight of exertion, not the ache of regret. There is a difference. Regret says, I had more to give and withheld it. Exertion says, I gave all that I reasonably could. One drains you, the other renews you. Tiredness after honest work carries its own satisfaction. You must also understand that doing your best today sets an example for others, whether you intend it or not. There are people in your circle, family, colleagues, friends, who are watching you. They may never speak of it, but they are drawing conclusions from your conduct. When they see you do only what is necessary to avoid scolding, they are confirmed in their own laziness. When they see you rise above complaint and give full effort in modest conditions, something in them is stirred. They realize that another way is possible. You become a living rebuke to excuse-making. Instead of joining the chorus of "Why bother?" you quietly sing, "Because it is right." That song has more power than you know. In the end, doing your best with what you have today is not about impressing others, nor is it about trying to force life to give you what you want on your schedule. It is about aligning your conduct with a simple, uncompromising truth. This day is your responsibility. You are its steward. You decide whether it will be spent in a fog of half effort or in clear, honest application of the abilities you possess right now. You cannot control how many days you are given, but you can control how fully you live each one. When you grasp that, you stop treating today as a rehearsal and start treating it as part of the performance. There is no way around this law. You can read every book, listen to every teacher, and fill your head with the loftiest ideas, but if you refuse to bring your whole self to the work immediately in front of you, you will remain a spectator in the arena of achievement. The door does not open for wishes. It opens for men whose daily behavior proves that they are already living as if they were where they desire to be. You can become such a man not by waiting for a better tomorrow, but by wringing the full value out of today. There is a reason life keeps bringing you back to the same truth from different angles. It is because you have tried almost everything except the one thing that never fails, showing up fully where you are, with what you have, and giving more than the situation appears to deserve. You have tried wishing. You have tried envying. You have tried waiting. You have tried blaming. None of these has changed your position. Now you are being invited to try the one method that has built every enduring success, absolute honesty in effort today. You are not asked to perform miracles. You are asked to stop insulting your own potential by using only a fraction of it. Think of how you usually move through a day. You hold back here, you delay there, you leave this half finished and that untouched, and all the while you talk about what you will do one day. If you treated a field that way, sowing a few seeds here, tossing a few there, walking away whenever you felt bored, you would not be surprised at a poor harvest. Yet you treat your time, your duties, and your abilities in exactly that manner and then act astonished when little comes of them. You must accept that the law is already fair with you. It is not punishing you by giving you only this to work with. It is testing you. It wants to know whether you can be trusted with more. It is saying, "Show me how you treat this little, and I will know how you would treat much." If you are sloppy with a small sum, you will be reckless with a large one. If you grumble through minor trials, you will collapse under major ones. If you drag your feet when the stakes are low, you will freeze when they are high. There is no escaping this logic. It is written into the fabric of life. You must therefore stop seeing your present limitations as a sentence and begin seeing them as a stage. A stage is not the final destination. It is a platform upon which you prove yourself. The work you do today, however small, is your audition. You are demonstrating to your own mind, to those around you, and to the laws that govern opportunity how you behave when responsibility is placed in your hands. The world is not looking for men who promise they will do great things if given the chance. It is looking for men who are already doing great things with small chances. Look closely at the men whose lives you admire. Strip away the stories others tell about luck and sudden breaks. You will find a pattern of years in which they did more than they were paid for, prepared for doors that were not yet open, and refined their craft when no one was applauding. They were not rehearsing for some vague future. They were bringing their best to the day they had. That habit quietly built a force of character that drew larger responsibilities toward them as naturally as iron is drawn to a magnet. You can build the same force. Every time you say, I will do this as well as I know how, even if no one thanks me, you strengthen it. Every time you insist, I will keep my word, even though breaking it would cost me less, you strengthen it. Every time you stay with a problem a little longer instead of throwing up your hands, you strengthen it. This invisible strength is what opens doors later that no amount of pleading could open. People are drawn to those whose conduct shows that they will carry a load all the way, not drop it halfway when it becomes heavy. Doing your best with what you have today is also the surest way to discover what you truly want. As long as you dabble, you cannot tell whether your dissatisfaction comes from your path or from your own half-heartedness. You say, perhaps I am meant for something else, yet you have never given yourself entirely to what is before you. Only when you pour yourself into your present calling can you honestly judge whether you have outgrown it. Many men flee from one path to another, blaming the road, when the real problem is that they never learn to walk with purpose on any road. There is a quiet dignity that enters a man when he decides to stop living as if his life will begin later. He looks around at his present conditions, the work, the tools, the people, the obligations, and instead of sighing, he says, this is my material. This is where I will prove my worth. From that moment, his back straightens. His tone changes. He becomes less concerned with how his situation looks to others and more concerned with how faithfully he meets it. The complaints that used to spill so easily from his mouth begin to sound childish even to his own ears. You may object, but I am surrounded by people who do the opposite. They cut every corner. They mock effort. They call anyone who tries foolish or desperate. How can I give my best while they laugh? The answer is simple. By deciding that you will not let the lowest standard around you set yours. If you base your conduct on the laziest man in the room, you have already chosen your future. He is showing you where that path leads. If you wish to arrive somewhere else, you must walk another way, whether anyone else joins you or not. You will discover, if you persevere, that your seriousness draws out one of two responses. It will either awaken the conscience of those around you who begin to wonder why you move with such purpose, or it will expose their intention to remain as they are. In both cases, your path becomes clearer. You will find companions who respect effort, and you will see more plainly whom to keep at a distance. In either case, you gain. What you lose are only the illusions. The illusion that you can be casual and still advance. The illusion that you can live like everyone else and somehow arrive at a different destination. Doing your best with what you have today is not about becoming grim or humorless. It is about removing the hidden conflict in your life. That conflict comes from knowing you could do more and choosing not to. You joke, you distract yourself, you tell stories about one day, but a part of you's never fooled. It knows you are idling. It knows you are not using the strength, intelligence, and time you were given. That inner witness does not shout, but it robs you of peace. The only way to silence its accusation is to change your behavior. When you change, when you begin to live days, you can respect that same inner witness becomes your ally. It says, yes, you have far to go, but today you moved honestly in the right direction. You may still face external setbacks, delays, refusals, disappointments, but they no longer strike at the roots of your identity. You no longer interpret every obstacle as proof that you are unworthy. You understand that obstacles are part of the path, and your worth is proven by how you meet them, not by their absence. Your best today also includes the courage to decide. Indecision is one of the most common forms of wasted life. You stand between 2 or 3 possibilities, turning them over in your mind, growing more tired with each revolution, and doing nothing. You tell yourself that you are being cautious, that you are thinking it through, but in truth, you are avoiding the moment when you must commit. Doing your best with what you have means choosing the best path you can see now and stepping onto it with both feet. You can always adjust your course as you gain more knowledge. But you cannot steer a ship that never leaves the harbor. Do not confuse decision with recklessness. A sound decision grows from thought, from examining your present resources, from weighing your responsibilities and your aim. Once made, however, it demands the support of your full effort. Half decisions are worse than none because they drain you without moving you. If you decide to learn a trade, give your best to learning it. If you decide to build a business, give your best to deserving your customers' trust. If you decide to strengthen your body, give your best to nourishing and training it. A decision that is not backed by doing your best today is nothing but a wish disguised as a plan. Remember also that your best is not a fixed amount. It changes as you grow. What was your best a year ago might now be comfortable. If you stay at that level, you will stagnate. Doing your best today means reaching toward the edge of your present ability, not living forever at yesterday's effort. This does not mean living in constant strain. It means that as your strength increases, you lift heavier loads willingly. You do not cling to the pride of old achievements while shrinking from new demands. You remain a learner. To live this way, you must cultivate gratitude for what you have instead of bitterness for what you lack. Gratitude is not sentimental feeling. It is clear recognition that your present resources, however small, are enough to begin. You can think. You can choose. You can act. You can learn. These are treasures. Many who possess far more in outward things have lost the use of these inner powers through idleness and vice. When you begin from gratitude, you stop despising your own tools. You say, with this mind, these hands, this situation, I will do all I can. Gratitude turns your focus away from counting other men's coins and back to investing your own. If you truly adopt this principle, something surprising will happen. Your desire for sudden, effortless success will weaken. You will begin to see such tales as childish fantasies. You will recognize that anything worth having is worth building, and building takes time. You will no longer envy the man who appears to have leapt overnight to a great height. You will watch to see whether he can stay there. Your respect will shift toward those who have stood the test of years, whose character has been refined through consistent effort. And you will desire for yourself not a brief flare of fortune, but a steady, rising life. This shift in your values is one of the greatest gifts that comes from doing your best with what you have. When you honor effort and faithfulness more than appearance and noise, you become harder for the world to deceive. You are no longer dazzled by glitter. You look for substance. You ask, what does this person do every day? How does he treat small things? How does he behave when it is difficult? You begin to apply the same questions to yourself. In this way, your standards for both yourself and your companions rise together. In the quiet of your own mind, you must come to a final, firm resolution. I will no longer live as if my real life is waiting somewhere else. This is my life. This day belongs to me as surely as any future day will. I will meet it with all the courage, attention, and diligence I possess. That resolution is not a sentence of toil. It is an invitation to strength. It means you will stop scattering your energy on wishes and regrets and pour it instead into the only place where it can do any real work, the present. You may wonder, if I live this way, will I not miss out on ease? You will miss out on the particular ease that comes from drift, from never fully committing, from always having an excuse ready. You will trade that false ease for a different kind of rest, the rest of a man who knows he is not cheating himself. The weight you carry will be real, but so will your sense of power. You will still need sleep, food, and time to recover, but you will not need to numb yourself with constant distractions to escape the feeling that you are wasting your life. And as the days gather behind you, each one marked by the quiet stamp of honest effort, you will begin to notice doors opening that once remained shut. You will find that people mention your name when reliability is needed. You will see opportunities that others overlook because they are too busy complaining. You will be ready to seize them because you have trained yourself in the art of using what you have. When more comes, it will not overwhelm you. It will fit into hands already skilled by years of faithful practice. The principle you are being asked to live by is simple, but it is not easy. Few embrace it. Most continue to drift, to mutter about unfairness, to promise that one day they will show their real strength. Do not join them. Let this day be the day you step out of that crowd. Not by shouting, not by grand declarations, but by the way you handle the very next thing in front of you. Your work, your surroundings, your word, your thoughts. Tell yourself quietly but firmly, I will empty myself into this day. I will not hoard my effort. I will not wait for applause. I will not despise small tasks. I will use my mind, my hands, and my will as if they were valuable, because they are. Then live that sentence from morning until night. Do it again tomorrow, and again. In time, you will look back and see that what you once called just another day was in fact the place where you forged the character that carried you into every success that followed. The law is unwavering. Success yields to the man who, regardless of his starting point, regardless of his current tools, makes a habit of doing his best with what he has today, not next year, not after conditions improve. Today, if you will obey that law with your whole heart, you will not need to chase success. You will be moving along the only road on which it can reliably find you.